This is very much mid-pack. Well, it's better than being at the back, I suppose. This video is supported by YouTube ads. If you want to support me, please consider whitelisting my channel on your ad blocker if you use one. You'll never see a mid-roll ad in any of my videos. Alright, so here we go with the 2021 cars. Starting with the Pua ZR350. Oh god, it's carnage already. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. I was going on the straight, man! Okay, well that was a great start. I thought, oh great, I've avoided all that nonsense. Then I immediately get wrecked from the straight somehow. Yeah, gone from second to second last in subsequent races. 2021 cars. It's probably going to be a lot of tuners. The Pua ZR350 didn't really get much of a shout, did it? The tuners class is relatively close, and the ZR350 is towards the bottom of it. Very unfortunate for such an iconic car. What's the gap to first? 25 seconds. We haven't even got the end of lap 1 yet. Classic. Alright, from one tuner to another. Sultan RS Classic. So, 2021 was the tuners DLC and the contract DLC. But there will also be some holdovers from... What was the last DLC in 2020? Whatever the last deal, Cayo Perico? Yeah, okay, so there'll be some drip feed from Cayo Perico, some day one cars from Contract, and then the Tuners DLC. Well, the selection of cars that we've chosen from those DLCs anyway. 25 cars again, as it always is. I think 2021 was one of the better years actually for GTA Online as a whole. The contract DLC, the tuners DLC, I think they were actually pretty good. Pretty fresh, pretty new, interesting, give some interesting cars. Buffalo STX was the quickest muscle car for a short amount of time. Wait, it still is on old gen, right? I think. It's only HSW cars that have beaten it. And PC, which counts as old gen at the moment. God. I thought this one was going to be a clean race because there was so much space on every single part of this track. I think we have managed to keep to the idea of a track from every year that we're doing the cars as well, so that's been nice. But only 2 to go. 2021 and then 2022. But we will almost certainly continue doing this in future. We just won't be doing them back to back like we have done. It's crazy that it was so many months ago that we were starting this whole procedure with the 2013 cars. There's the Vetia. What an utterly forgettable vehicle. Like, what was the point of this? And they made it super expensive to buy and own. They added a lot of vehicles that were literally just for Cayo Perico, I think. This being one of them. But they keep doing that. They keep adding new vehicles for like the smallest of reasons. When they could just like reuse some vehicles that we already have. Forgot it existed? Exactly. I think it has... It can hold... Can it hold more passengers in the back? It can, right? But not as many as the barracks. I'm pretty sure. Like, the barracks was a much cheaper and better version of this that they could have just used instead. Well, back down the order I go. Oh, that's a bold strategy. I mean, to be fair, I don't mind them adding new vehicles like this, even if they don't have much use, but don't make them like over $1 million to buy. Alright, the Xeno. This is like almost like the Tygon for me, but even more so in terms of forgettable vehicles. I'm guessing it still has the glitchy mirror bug that the XA21 does. It had it when it first came out. If you put different mirrors on it, it would flip on curbs and whatnot. Ugh, stupid bushes. I'm so careful about not hitting anyone else that I end up just making it worse for myself. Ignis. The original Ignis. Does anyone remember this exists? Why did they not make the regular Ignis the HSW upgrade? Why the weaponized Ignis in the first place? But then why put the HSW upgrade on the weaponized Ignis instead of just the regular one that was already there? Yeah, there was a regular Ignis before the weaponized Ignis. No HSW, it's just your standard supercar. I'm going to predict that this is going to be one of my worst showings in these yearly random races so far. I've done pretty well in most of them. Have I managed top 10 in all of them? Ooh! Have I managed top 10 in all of them yet so far? I don't know. If not top 10 in all of them, top 10 in most of them. But I'm going to predict that this is going to be one of my worst results. Obviously that start crash, it will be a big factor in that, but also I'm not very good at tracks like this, where it's all custom and yeah. I don't think I'm going to do very well. But at least we get to explore some 2021 cars. Yeah, the regular Ignis was quite competitive, to be fair, before HSW came around. Dominator GTT. This topped the muscle class temporarily until the ASP released. Still a good muscle car. Nice to drive as well. Doesn't do anything in tuners races though. This slam truck. It's not turning much, is it? The biggest disappointment about this was that you couldn't put a car on the back. They had no functionality to do that. Because they showed it in trailers and stuff, and everyone thought, oh, it's going to be so cool, you'll be able to like store a car on the back or something like that, and it had no functionality whatsoever. then it just sits in the car meet and has the prize ride vehicle on it. As always with these yearly random races, everyone gets the same cars by the end. So it all evens out in terms of car performance. Damn, 31st out of 32nd. And I was only 32nd because... yeah, I was only 31st because Mild had got involved in an accident. I'm 30th now. That slam truck. It was also added to the utility vehicles class, wasn't it? It's in the utility vehicles class, and it wasn't as quick as the Sadler by the tune of like 10 seconds per lap. So it it was a new raceable utility vehicle for the first time in ever, I think. And it didn't even have a purpose there. Cheeky Melee. Quickest sedan in the game. The Reinhardt gives it some a run for its money now, but it was the quickest for, well, it still is the quickest overall. Released in 2021. Jubilee. We had all the Amani tech stuff, didn't we, with the contract DLC? The contract DLC I thought was a decent DLC. They actually put some care and attention into that one, some thought and, you know, decent story and whatnot. And Tuners was a breath of fresh air as well, you know, for giving some attention to the car people, and the whole low grip tyres fiasco was a nightmare, but apart from that, the cars themselves and the street races and all that kind of stuff. But again, it's immediately forgotten about. We haven't had a new tuner since the Postlude and the Kanjo, and they were added to the tuners class, but not usable in tuners races, the custom versions anyway. And then now we just don't get new tuner vehicles ever. So, oh, it's always the same, isn't it? But 2021 was a good year, I thought, for GTA. It was actually a breath of fresh air, 2021. Cypher. Quite a forgettable tuner class car, I reckon. I own it, but of all the tuners, wasn't it one of the last to be released as well? And it's not too far off the pace either, but I think the order of the top few tuners had been released, had been set by then. Nothing was beating the Sultan or the Vector, depending on the track. And then you had the Calico there as well. Nice to drive though, it handles nicely. Again, the cars were decent in 2021. I'm just not learning this track at all. Alright, tailgate to S. I'm trying to think, I can't remember now. Did the tailgate to S actually get top spot in sedans? Did it ever beat the Shafter V12? Because obviously the Chinky Melee came along in the contract DLC afterwards. But I can't remember whether the tailgate to S actually managed to beat it or not. No. No, it never did it? That's what I thought. The tailgate S was pretty much a perfect encapsulation of the original tailgater. A load of grip, but just not enough to get the top spot. It was close though, it was close. And again, like, tuner races are fun because you can have multi-class racing essentially, but you know, the tuners class isn't actually a real class. All the cars in the tuners class are in other proper classes like sports, sedans, muscle, what have you. It's just a shame we haven't gotten more. And it's a shame that they didn't make some of the other cars more on the pace. You basically ended up having 3 cars at the top of tuners. Would have been nice to just have more, since they were creating a brand new class for it. Alright, the Astron. I like the Astron. I really like the HSW Astron Custom that came later. But I think the regular Astron is actually slightly nicer to drive. And the regular Astron is actually quicker than the regular Astron Custom as well. Has slightly more engine power, I think, for the engine upgrade. But then obviously the Astron Custom can be HSW upgraded as well. Yeah, good little car, the Astron. That was a good addition. Previan. The first coupe to be added to the game. Since, when was it? 2015? 2016? 5 years, I think we waited. Yeah, it must have been 2016. The Windsor drop. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. This was in the drip feed and we came on Project Homecoming and looked at the Previan and it said in the bottom right, Previan, coupes. Like, what? 5 years of no coupe DLC cars. And then they finally remembered. I even made a video saying, did Rockstar forget about coupes? And then it wasn't too long after that video that the Previan came around, so maybe that reminded them. And we've had a few more since then with the Kanjo, the Postlude. Sentinel XS got its HSW upgrade. Dominator ASP. These car selections are being dominated by tuners. I guess that's no surprise. 15 laps done, 10 laps to go. We didn't fill it up with all the tuners though, to be fair, I seem to remember. I don't think every tuner class vehicle is represented, and I am aware that I'm saying tuners way too much in this race. I'm finally starting to get a bit more used to the track, but it's taken 15 laps to do it. Yeah, that ASP is very nice. Nice little car, that. Yuga Custom. Added with the contract DLC. There was a way to glitch the ownership of it, but then they patched that in the next DLC, so they all got deleted. And then the DLC after that, they made it available to get through the career progression. But it's a hell of a grind. I refuse to do it. I've already done 100 security contracts and enough payphone hits for me to feel done. I'm not doing more just to unlock this. Some madmen have though. At least they made it available in some way. It would have been a shame to have the Yuga Custom just be hidden away again, and like just, you know, not have anyone have the chance to use it outside of that one mission. Or the short trip missions, however many it features in. It's only the last one, isn't it? So many cars that they have that they could give people access to in online, and they never do. The Deity. This is another nice car. Handles really nicely. Not quite on the pace of the top sedans, but it's just a really nice car to drive. Okay, I can brake a little later there. In a decent car. That's third place. I haven't been anywhere close to getting my lap back and getting onto the lead lap. I should, I imagine, before the end, when the leaders start getting their slow vehicles. The leaders are mostly only the lead. Yeah, there's a Yuga Custom in first place now. It's always these races where the leaders are the people who get the slowest vehicles last. Then it all comes together at the end. But these are more about skill, these races, than regular random alls or whatever, because everyone gets the same cars. The Jester RR. This is a great car. I really like the way that it drives. It's a shame it wasn't quite on the pace of the top tuners, but it's not too far off. But it's just a really nice car to drive, this. Best car from the DLC, maybe? From the tuners DLC? I think it might be in terms of, you know, quality of the way that it drives. Although the Dominator GTT is quite nice as well. Decent little lap. I've been mired in the bottom 20s. Gotta see what we can do in those last few laps. Have I gotten rid of all the slow cars at this point? Hopefully. Ah, the champion. What a waste of space this was. Slower than the Adder, wasn't it? Or at least it was in the same tier as the Adder. I think it had a slower lap time than the Adder. And then they bloody increased the price of it later on, when they did those price changes. The champion of all things, just because it had the Amani tech. Slow as balls for supercars. It's not even that bad of a car from like a driving perspective, it's just... Yeah, that was it. The Buffalo STX, which also has the Amani tech and is significantly cheaper, is quicker than this. And now there's quite a few Amani tech vehicles that are quicker and cheaper, probably. Yeah, the Buffalo's 4-door as well. It's a shame for the champion. Could have been so much better. The Vector. The Vector is the top car for tuners racers on some of the street tracks. Some of the street tracks, the Sultan RS Classic is the best. On some of them, the Vector is the best, depending on the makeup of the circuit. Then you've got the Calico always there. But not quite the best on any. Really nice car, the Vector. Actually, the Vector might be my favourite car from the deal. Well, does it drive nicer than the Jester? I think I like the way that the Jester drives actually better. But it's a very nice car. Again, good cars from the Tuners DLC. They did alright. 2021 they were on top of their game DLC wise. I quite like the Calico actually. I know a lot of people don't, but it's actually my go-to for those street races if I ever need to do them. Comet S2. When this came out, it had the highest top speed of any tuner. Couldn't do anything in races, but had a good top speed. Yeah, the low grip tyres. The low grip tyre fiasco where you can put low grip wheels on and be significantly quicker in a straight line. And the Comet S2 was the car to have to do that. Went like 160 miles an hour or something. And then they patched it and put the the rev limiter on the tuners, the rev limiter flag, which mean they're all hard capped for top speed now, unfortunately. I like that there was a Ron livery though. We so rarely get Ron liveries on vanilla GTA cars, so that's why I own a Comet now. Right close to Dynamite. He finally got a win over me in the last race. Close in this one. Oh, the Patriot Moosepec, I hadn't had all the slow cars. Three laps to go. This was a better squaddy. Patriot Moosepec is just... They should have just skipped over the squaddy and just added this instead and left it as this. Can I keep a top half? I feel like a top half would be a decent little result. Back onto the lead lap. Everyone gets to finish all their laps anyway, but it would be nice to like legitimately finish on the lead lap. Considering that crash at the start, I feel like a top half would be a decent comeback. I don't think it's going to be much better than that. Alright, here's the Calico. This was the quickest for the tuner vehicle racers initially, at least. The Vector and the Sultan RS Classic were both drip feed. Trying to pass some people who have some slower cars now on the last few laps. That's what I'm hoping. There's 16th, so there's top half. I don't know what I've got left. Pretty dark on this track now as well. Alright, what's left? Two more cars. I hope it's not something slow that I've forgotten about. Baller ST? Not bad. Definitely quicker than a slam truck. I don't mind the Baller ST. Wasn't able to push towards the top of the SUVs class, but it's actually quite fun to race with and drive. I'd rather have a Baller ST than Baller LE, LE LWB, LE LWB Armoured, LE Armoured. The Baller ST was just the LE LWB model, wasn't it? I seem to remember. Like, the shape of the car is exactly the same as the LE LWB. Alright, there's 14th. Last lap. Oh, there's the squaddy. Speak of the devil. Okay, so there was a slow car I was forgetting about. Patriot Moosepec behind. So can I keep a top half? I've managed to stay on the lead lap, which isn't too bad considering that crazy crash at the start and the amount of time loss I had. Don't think I'm going to be gaining any positions though. There's one gone. I can only afford to lose one more to still be in top half. Dean might get his second victory over me. I won the first 7 races versus him. And then he's got 2 in a row. Oh, there's a Previan. Benny's coming fast in the Previan. Can I keep it to the line? No! Just lost at the line. Well, I still kept top half though. 16th. Considering how much time I lost on the very first lap, that's not so bad. I was an absolute massive wipeout and I was 25 seconds down after lap 1. I mean, I told you I wasn't going to have a very good race because the track just wasn't doing it for me. But it's not a bad comeback from being last, pretty much.